What's up, nation? What's going on with y'all, man? You guys can tell I'm telling you, I'm really upset about this whole entire game, and I don't care what no one says about anything, but to me personally, to me, there's no excuses, man. Shout out to Daniel Mazza. No excuses. There's no freaking. I'm gonna try to keep it PG-13 as much as I can. There's no, there's no excuses. Eric, shout out to you, man. Sanchez. There's no excuses at all. Um, there's no excuses. I don't care what no one says about this thing. Um, Dak Prescott. As much as I fight for you, Dak. As much as I fight for you, and you know, everybody know that I fight for Dak Prescott more than most. More than most. There's nobody out here that can say that they fight for Dak Prescott more than me. If they can, prove it. Point the fam out. There's no way on God's freaking blue or green earth you got to attack the ball down the field, regardless of the situation. I don't care. Throw the ball down the field. You got to do it. And I'm not trying to just say, okay, we lost, we could have won the game and all this stuff. You still got to at least prove to everybody that you can at least make the defense play honest. Throw the ball down the field. It does not make sense to me. And I'm not trying to say this just because we lost. No. You got Tavon Austin, who right now is our best player out there, only person that can make plays. Of course we love Cole Beasley, but Cole Beasley is Cole Beasley. He's nothing great. He's good. He's a good player. He's a good football player. Yeah, he can ball a little bit in basketball, but that's it. He's good. He's not great. The intermediate short passes that he can catch, okay, cool. Okay, cool. Come on. I would, if I'm a defensive coordinator, I'd say, hey, allow number 11 to beat us. And if he can win, let it be so. He's not going to take the top off the defense. He's not going to kill you with 60 and 70 yards plays. That's even with Tony Romo passing him the ball. Undrafted guy, I promise, I trust me, 5'8", 175 pounds. Good. I would allow him to eat in the middle of the field each and every day. But to me personally, you got to take the ball down the field. You got to at least make the defense play honest. And then on top of that too as well, I do know that everybody want to say this right here. This coaching staff is this and this coaching staff is that. But this coaching staff is what it is. And I love Jason Garrett. I love Scott Linehan. I love all those guys out there. But they not going to be the guy that can muster out a Super Bowl championship. No. No. There's no way you can just say, okay, guys, they have to execute and this sort of thing. No, just give it up. Just give it up. And there's no way with this coaching staff that can believe me for the last 10 plus years that Jason Garrett can lead us to the promised land. And I understand that we have a collective people that say, okay, he was the coach of the year a couple of years ago. But don't use that as an excuse. And you got to at least, I promise you, I would rather for us to throw and launch the ball down the field and have an INT. Because as the coach of the team, you have to tell Dak Prescott, hey, they're trying to stop the run. And the only way we can just open up this offense so that everybody can play honest to at least attempt to throw the ball down the field. Regardless of whether it's an interception, if it's 3rd and 20, don't do the dump off pass. Don't do the slants. Don't do that. All you doing is setting up the. Hey, shout out to Brett Maher. He's the only guy that made some points out there that was worthwhile, right? And Ezekiel Elliott, come on, man. There's nobody on this earth. There's nobody They've been rooting for you. They've been always putting out themselves out there on the line and saying, okay, with Ezekiel Elliott, we wouldn't been 9-7 last year. Now, of course, he did had a great game or what have you, but Ezekiel Elliott, you got to be mindful where you at on the field. You cannot step out of bounds. You cannot do that. And then I pointed out last game, Ezekiel Elliott, I don't care who the running back coach is, but somebody got to tell Ezekiel Elliott, even though you got away with it during the Giants game, you got to put the ball in the left arm. You cannot have an undrafted rookie to whatever this guy is to knock the ball out of your hand. You cannot have those boneheaded mistakes. And then when you see the hole, you explode through the hole. Don't sit there and hesitate and allow the opposition to get in front of you. This coaching talking to you. Call me an armchair coach, whatever you may want to do this, but I guarantee you I did a better job than coaching you to this day. There's no way that you can just go out there and hold the ball to your right hand and allow the opposition to knock that ball out of your hand. And not one of those coaches out there get into your face and say, hey, come on. One of those coaches got to get out there and get in your face. I don't care. The only coach that got balls out there is Chris Richard, and nobody else got balls out there. Nobody else. Nobody else. Somebody got to get into the face. I don't care whether or not it's Jason Garrett doing the claps. I don't care if it's Scott Linehan holding his hands up like this. But one of these coaches got to get out there and coach the team. Coach the team. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. $5 billion. This franchise is worth $5 billion. And we have a coach that can sit back there and allow these things to happen. And we pay our hard-earned money. We pay our hard-earned money to be out there, to watch the game, to go to the game, support this team. And we see the same product time and time again. We saw other teams out there today. We saw other teams out there without their quarterback, without this guy, without their starting offensive line, without their starting running back, and they go out there and ball. And we sit there and do the same exact plays. And it baffles me. It's crazy to me. And as much as I fight for Dak Prescott, a third of the population is out here in the chat box going to say, Dak suck, Dak suck, Dak suck, Dak suck, Dak suck. And it seems to me, Dak, come on. Throw the ball down the field. Challenge accepted, yeah, but you got to do your part of the bargain. Yes, it's a good story. Yes, it's beautiful that you are able to play for the America's team, but at some point, some way, somehow, that you got to challenge the opposition. You cannot do the dink and dunk. I understand that the coverage allows and dictates for you to throw the ball right there, and that's the best option. And we win the game, everybody's saying okay. But at some point, you got to will this team. If hurry up offense is the way that you want to run this team, then damn it, first quarter, you tell Coach Lanahan, you tell Jason Garrett, you tell them, like, look, hey, the way I can methodically move this ball is hurry up offense. This is the way we're going to have to do this. And then on top of that, La'el Collins, come on, man. La'el, you've been in the league too long for having all these crazy hold calls. And if you can't play right tackle, and if you want to play right tackle because it's a better position for you as far as financial-wise, then somehow, some way, La'el Collins, and I do know this, why 1 or 2, 3 plays, but still, 1 or 2, 3 plays, you can lose the game. And damn it, if you can't play right tackle, then put yourself back into the inside. There's no, man. If we getting killed into the inside, and I said all offseason, the main issue with the Dallas Cowboys is the defensive tackle and safety. We saw that a mile away from here. What happened when Jeff Heath went down? They put Kayvon Frazier out there in space. What's Kayvon Frazier's weakness? Range. He can't cover out in space. That's just the bottom line. There's no way you can sugarcoat it. There's no way you can put that out there. That cost us 7 points. But some people out there say, no, we okay. We good with Xavier Woods. We good with Kayvon Frazier. We good with Jeff Heath. And I told you, yeah, we cool with Jeff Heath. But the moment he goes down, it's amazing to me that they put up 7 points. When you playing press man coverage defense, there you have to have the over-the-top help because you can only press for so long. And then on top of that, there's no way that Cheeto was able to win off of that route. They scored off of that drive. And then they went back to a soft shell cover 2 defense. And what's the weakness of cover 2 defense? I've been streaming this out I've been yelling this out for the last 3 years. Seam routes, slants. That's how you can kill the cover 2 defense. And what did little Russell Wilson do? Hit us with the seam, hit us with the slant routes. But I don't know football, right? Everybody else knows football out there. Everybody in the Cowboys organization knows football out there. It's crazy to me. Cheeto is a physical, aggressive cornerback. He's going to man the guy up. He's going to play the press, cover defense, and then on top of that, you're going to have that over-the-top help. And if Frazier's not able to be aware of that, then you will have those points that's on the board that we saw today. That's football 101. I don't know how you can slice it up, but it is what it is. LeBron better than MJ said 0-0 score. Shout out to Young Wilson for the donation to help grow the nation. And look, there's no way that we can look at this game and be positive about this thing down the line. We play Detroit Lions next week, right? Moving forward a little bit to the next week. The only way, it could be one of those things where this team has flipped on us and all of a sudden on the road we can't play because we saw the same exact things that we saw from week 1 to week 3. And we're supposed to become better than that. And then all of a sudden, we see this same thing going on and on and on and on again. There's something that the Dallas Cowboys are going to have to fix. Whether it be, okay, Ezekiel Elliott, you fumble the ball, okay, we understand that. But you're getting out of the bounds and you're supposed to be able to put those points on the board. We understand that. But next week, you can't have those same type of mistakes. I saw the mistake from last week from the Giants game. He didn't put the ball in the left hand, although he didn't get the fumble or anything. But there's something. This defense is too good of a defense for us to sit back and have a lackadaisy offense. This offense must press. And then on top of that, focus on the things that you can control. You know for sure that your defense is the best right now than your offense. Stop receiving the ball and starting off with the ball. There's something to that. You got to be able to say, okay, we defer. We're going to get our defense out there first because we want to be able to set the tone, set the precedents out there, and let them know that we coming out here to play. But the first 3 and outs, and then on top of that, I understand that the NFL just is crazy with that. It's crazy with the NFL ruling with Tyrone Crawford saying that was a personal foul on the quarterback, what have you. It's crazy to me. That rule, there's no way that you can stop. You try being 275 pounds, 6'6", 6'5", whatever Tyrone Crawford height is, and you try to stop yourself from a 5'11" quarterback. Come on, man, NFL, y'all got to change that. And then they try to do the makeup call when they call the late hit on Dak Prescott, which at that point the game was over with. You know, the guy pushed Dak Prescott. And then what Randy Gregory was thinking, you put extra 3 points on the opposition hand by hitting the guy in the face. Come on. Discipline. That comes from coaching because there's no threat. There's no saying to the player out there, you make these bonehead decisions out there, then those are the consequences and repercussion. You get a chewing or something that can happen to you on the outside line. But this team, everybody going to say, I already know what they're going to say, that it's not the coach's fault out there. Come on now. Shout out to Young Wilson for the donation to help grow the nation. Shout out to Chaz Jewels for the donation to help grow the nation. We're trading for Earl Thomas. It's a little bit too late to me. I saw a player that changed and flipped the field for the Seattle Seahawks. 2 interceptions. Come on. And everybody was saying, we don't need an Earl Thomas right now. We good with Woods. And as much as everybody like to pump up Woods, and I like Woods personally, I like him from Louisiana, Texas, from my neck of the woods, from the South. But he's no Earl Thomas, so y'all can just hush that right now. It's crazy to me, man. It is so crazy to me. Sean Lee has proven again that he can't stay healthy. This is from Julius Williams. Yeah, he can't stay healthy. If Sean Lee, man, you guys don't understand that when I talked to Drew Pearson, he was talking about these moments right here. In order to be an elite player, and of course we can just toss up the numbers and say, okay, what did Drew Pearson know about playing defense? The guy got a ring for a reason, and he said, hey, I didn't take days off. And I understand that Sean Lee wanted to get back out there in the field, but when you become a liability out there, the name of the game is playing. This is not politics. You got to be able to get out there and play. And if everything always happened wrong to you, then we have to just take a look at ourselves and say, okay, maybe this player is just not worth what it is. And maybe you can get some draft picks out for the player. Maybe 3 years ago. It's kind of too late right now. It's just too late. Law, we need a better offensive line. Yes, I agree 1,000%. Dak Prescott running for his life, but that's still, and I'm telling you, that still doesn't neglect the fact that he's got to throw the ball at least down the field. Trust me, I love Dak Prescott, but you got to throw the ball down the field. I understand that the offensive line is in your face, but there's 31 other teams out there that have a horrible offensive line that don't have the luxury of having a Tyron Smith. The exact same team that we played today. Granted that it is a home game for them, and it's hard to play out there in Seattle, and they got like this spectacular record as it relates to their opening game. Although it's hard for a team to play in Seattle. Their offensive line was still porous, but they methodically moved the ball down the field. There's nothing that Russell Wilson did great. And then they said, okay, we're going to change this thing up. We're going to give the rock to our running back. And that's what happened. Shout out to Lathan Van Der Esch. Kayvon Frazier had trouble tackling angles and against Tyler Lockett. Kayvon Frazier was just everywhere, but not in the right spot. And salute to Kayvon. I know that he was battling injuries and things like that, but these penalties that happened out there on the field, those are all mental. You got to understand that you playing on the road. You got to play careful out there on the road. You just can't give up holding calls, late hits, and things like that. This game is chess, not checkers. Yes, money making mall, number 13. What's 13 all about? Because Michael Gallup, he didn't play as well as I thought and wished and hoped that he would. But at some point, you got to give the man a chance. It is what it is, man. Let me put up this thing right here. I really appreciate all you guys for tuning in. You guys can tell I'm just really upset about this game because at the end of the day, we could have won this game. And I do know that the Seattle Seahawks fans going to come up there and say, look, hey, this guy's delusional. We won fair and square. But no, if this team was prepared enough, if the team was ready to play, then we would have won the game regardless. That's just the bottom line of it. When I see games like this, yes, it's 1-2 of the season. It's still got a long way to go, and there's still possibilities, and there's still chances for us to win. But you got to figure out a way to win these little small games like this. You got to pull these games out. And that's the difference between the Belichicks of the world, right? And that's the difference between the good coaches out there, the Jimmy Johnsons and the and this it's just what it is. You got to be ready to play regardless. 13 points. Yeah, Chaz, thank you for the donation to help grow the nation. Okay, screw it. Bring back Dez Bryant. I don't know, man. We got to figure out a way that the defense have to respect the offense. And right now, the way that Tavon Austin, he's everything for this offense. I mean, number 17 disappeared out there. We was like, okay, yeah, he showed flashes. Number 11, he did what number 11 does. You know, those short intermediate catches that he catch out in the backfield. Cool, that's cool. And we like that. But he's not going to be the guy that said, okay, he was the reason why we won the game. And I guarantee you, everybody out there, as far as the defensive side of the ball, they're going to say, okay, this is how we want them to win the game. We want them to win the game through number 11. And then I think it was Jarwin, or was it Swain? One of those tight ends. The ball hits him all in the fingers and the face and what have you. And he's playing hot potato with the football. You know for sure you got a range opportunistic Earl Thomas out there in the backfield. It makes no sense, man. It makes no sense. If the ball touch your fingers, you got to be able to catch it. And it just baffles me. Jarwin. Yeah, that was Jarwin. I mean, never. They teach you this. Don't bat the ball up. Think about this. Coaching got to be involved in that. There's no way that you can bat the ball up when you're the wide receiver, tight end, regardless. There's more defensive guys out there than you. If anything, you bat the ball down. You live to fight another day. And Dak Prescott, I don't think he should have passed the ball into the middle of that defense anyway. But what statement, Matthew, that Earl Thomas made so that I can move on from this? Trade for Julio Jones. We don't. Hey, man, this is crazy to me, man. This is for Mike Marto, who said trade for Julio. It's crazy, man. It's medieval. Shout out to the people that's on the Periscope. Shout out to those on the Facebook panel too as well. Hey, it's just one of those things where as we sit there and we watch this game, we root for the team that we love, and we see the same product from this is what week 3. We should see some type of progress. The only progress that I saw out there, Ezekiel Elliott had a spectacular game. He ran angry. Those were some positive things, but he bounced the ball out and playing basketball with the football. If we look back at it collectively with 22 vision, with hindsight is 2020 I meant to say. So if we look back out there at that type of vision, and then say if was a fifth, we all be drunk. We can look at the aspect of him if he was able to keep his foot in bounds. That would have been a plus 7 points there. If and this is just all ifs, if he didn't fumble the ball the first time out there on the edges and didn't allow an undrafted rookie free agent guy to punch the ball out, maybe. And we can all talk about those things. We can talk about if we would have drafted, I think, the guy with the one hand out there, Shaquem Griffin, versus a Schultz, then we would have had a better play. We would have had somebody explosive out there on the defense. We can look at those things. I don't think that did you guys seen Schultz out there? Let me know how Schultz are looking right now. Let me know. I will sit and wait. Let me know how Schultz did today. Because we so high on Schultz, right? We so much needed Schultz out there opposed to anybody else. So let me know how he did today. Because we're going to have to figure these things out. Defense wins the championships and defense win games, but we got to figure out a way to get him out there on the field. That's just the bottom line. And I do know for sure that this team, all offseason, try to correct and try to make those things right, but we're trying to play too much politics. Right now, could we use an Eric Reed right now? I know that it's not a nice topic to talk about, but wouldn't that have been nice if we'd had an Eric Reed to run out there opposed to a Kayvon Frazier, who we know for sure got range, can cover well out in space, who's not going to let the defender let the opposition get beyond him? Come on now. But we don't know football. We just fans. We just armchair quarterback in this thing, right? There's something that this team going to have to figure out one way or another. Let me see if I can pull this thing up. Yeah, so They're gonna have to figure this thing out, man. It's not nothing nice that I like to just point out for our team because we love this team. We want the best for this team. But if this team continue to do the same thing over and over again, come on now. I mean, what are we supposed to say about this? Let me try to put the chat box up on this screen for you all, and let me see what we can do about this thing, man. Let me try to see if I can do this. We're gonna jam out to this thing right here while I'm trying to get this thing open. But next week is next week. We got to figure out something to stop the bleeding because this is crazy to me. This is absolutely crazy. This team got to figure out something. I don't know what's going on with it, so not even my not even this damn thing working. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in. We gonna have to figure out something, man, and I'm gonna look back at the tape. We're gonna look over this film. We're going to really dissect into what needs to be done. Right now, we can cry a river. Shout out to Daniel Perez, man, for making the donation to help grow the nation, man. Appreciate you for being out there, doing your thing, putting this thing out there into the mix. I really appreciate every dollar counts. So thank you for tuning in to the nation and helping out this stuff, this sort of thing, man. We're gonna have to figure out a way And I'm telling you, a way for this offense to get to moving. This defense right now is too good for us to sit back and twirl our thumbs around and say, okay, well, maybe next year, maybe next year, maybe next year, maybe next year. Somehow they're gonna have to get this offense going, moving, rocking, and loaded, and we had an opportunity, and that, I hate to say it, that slipped right through our arms. There's no way that I feel comfortable and confident and have all these feelings that this guy is going to make it and change. And that's Bryce Butler. There's no way. Come on, let's be real about the situation. Let's be real about it, man. If you guys can be real about it, man, with me, then I'll be real about it with you. If you guys want me to tell you like some falsehood stuff, then I can tell you that, But there's no way that I can feel comfortable with Bryce Butler coming in here saying that he's going to score 3 touchdowns. His offense is going to look different. There's no way. The guy didn't even make the team for the Cardinals. And I think the Cardinals just lost today against the Chicago Bears. And that's just how it goes, man. I can try to sell you guys some false stuff out there, but that won't be me. And that's just what it is. Yeah, we can go back and look at the film and say, okay, if this and that would have happened, but damn it, it didn't. That's just the bottom line. Why wasn't Bryce active today? I think I saw T. Will out there. And it's the same song and dance. I don't know where did the NFL suspend it? Did they suspend T. Will? Let me know down in the comment section. Shout out to who is this over here? So Tick. Thank you for tuning in. Butler didn't play. Yeah, Bryce Butler. We didn't see him out there at all. So it's going to be something that we're going to have to really figure out. He's suspended for 4 games from now. Okay, cool. I mean, they're going to have to figure that thing out one way or another. They're going to have to do this, man, whether or not we like it or love it or hate it or what have you. So they're going to have to figure out something. Shout out to, on my Facebook panel, Matthew, Keith, Woody, thank you for tuning in. Jesse, Mark, all you guys, man. Floyd Day Jr., what's up, T. Will? I saw him like in 3 plays today. Yeah. Jason White, well, thank you for tuning in too as well. Ronnie, what's up? The tight end position. Oh, man, the tight end position is booty right now. I mean, either you're going to have to just say to yourself, okay, what we're going to do with this tight end play, we're going to let Rico Gathers just ball out. Regardless, we're going to go through some growing pains, whether or not he knows the plays or not. At least you can say to yourself, he can at least make plays on the ball. Regardless of whether or not you're not getting no blocks. To me personally, Swain, Barron, they're not just Jarwin, however you say this man's name, number 89, the guy that want to play volleyball with the football. There's no way that you can say, okay, these guys are superb blockers. Those guys, I don't care how good they can block, they're not going to win you games. You put Rico Suave out there, at least you got a 6'7" target down the field that you can say, okay, I'm going to close my eyes and throw the ball to him. You got to at least do that. Can y'all just do that for me, Cowboys Nation? Jason Garrett, Scott Linehan. Can you just at least throw Rico Gathers out there and just say, okay, I'll close my eyes and throw the ball to him. I know for sure he can at least box out some players. There's no way that you can say to yourself, okay, Jarwin, whatever this man's name, and I would learn his name, but he makes some plays. How about that? And Swain, yeah, these guys can just take the top off, whatever they doing out there. It can't be no worse than what Rico can do out there. It's just the bottom line. And then on top of that, guys, it's just one of those things where this team going to have to step this thing up one way or another. That's just how it is. You got to figure out a way. When we playing back, let's just say this. And K. Harden said Kellen Moore. I don't know, man. Offensive coordinator is straight trash. This is from Courtney Griffin. Yeah, I mean, there's no way that we can say we're excited about this team play. Offense looks stagnant. And then on top of that, Ezekiel Elliott, the savior of our offense. The guy that we're gonna have to run the ball behind. It's stepping out of bounds, playing basketball with the football. Not just shooting out to the see the hole, dancing around the backfield. What is this, man? What is this going on? No more claps for me. It's from Wiggle Bell. I mean, the positives. All right, so I'm gonna try to find some positive, the silver lining out of this thing here. Let me know what you guys think. What are the positives out of this? What can be some of the positive things that we can bring up out of this game? What are the things? Because I do know that right now we can rain on the parade. Colin Kaepernick or Johnny Football and get right done. Get it right done. One and done. I don't know about that. Big art in the house. Rico. The clapper and Lenihan needs to go. Yeah, y'all, you guys let out your frustration. Let's see. Let's tune into the. We can do that. Let's tune into the 105.3 The Fan. Let's see what they talking about. I know they got a post game that they normally do after the game. Let's see if we can pull them up, talk and see what they talking about. Because at some point, some way of another, we're gonna have to figure this thing out. Maybe they got the voice of wisdom over there. So let's see, 105.3 The Fan. Let's see if they got anything going. Because let's see, radio. Yeah. I mean, at this point, we get Earl Thomas, but we still have issues with his offense, unless we're going to just hold every team to 12 points. I mean, that would be the ideal goal right there, right? We're going to have to figure out a way to score. That's the name of the game. Scoring is the name of the game, guys. We got to figure out a way to score, and we got to figure out a way to put points on the board. That's just how it goes, man. One way or another, we got to put points on the board. Yep. And things can change around. I'm not saying
that you had nudged your foot out of bounds.
No, I had no idea. That's on me. I gotta have better awareness of the sideline. That's it.
And then on the late fumble, I suppose somebody might argue you're trying to do too much. Is that an explanation for that?
I think you can say whatever, but at the end of the day, when you got that ball in your hand, that's the team in your hand. And me being a leader on the team, me being a better player on this team, I gotta do a better job taking care of the ball, and you know what I mean. That costs us a game.
Zeke Elliott and Mike Fisher on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
It's something very important about this with Zeke Elliott. And I go back to being an undisciplined football team, and how little things come back to bite you in the butt when you're undisciplined. If you watch Zeke Elliott run, and this is important, people, this is very, very important. What hand was the ball when Zeke Elliott was running?
I was just saying that.
Left?
No.
Right?
It was in his right hand. And what sideline was he running down?
Sideline is on.
Left?
Left. And now you learn this in Pop Warner. In Pop Warner, when you're on the left-hand side, the ball should be in your left hand. Because if it falls out of your hand, you hope it goes out of bounds. If you're on the right side of the field, the ball should be in your right hand. Because it gets knocked out, it will go out of bounds. These are the little details that I'm talking about. The undisciplined details that you have to win football games, especially when things are going bad for you. You have to be good at all of the little things, because those little molehills become Mount Everest in football games. And something as simple as holding the ball high and tight in your left hand because you're on the left sideline is small things that most people don't realize, but it happens in games, and it costs you games because you're carrying the ball in the wrong hand. All the defense is coming from that way. It's coming from the inside. Hold the ball in your left hand so that if they hit it, it falls out of bounds, you maintain possession, and you keep going forward. But that's what I'm talking about, Ari, when I asked the question about, is this team undisciplined? It's stuff like that. Zeke Elliott, who's a fantastic runner, a fantastic football player, but you learn in Pop Warner. You learn in Little League. You learn in middle school and high school. Ball high and tight, 4 points on the ball, hold it to the outside arm, and tuck it away when you're getting towards contact.
Whose fault? Whose responsibility is stuff like that?
It's everybody's. It's Zeke Elliott because you're a Pro Bowl starting NFL running back in the league. It's Gary Brown's because you're the coach of this guy. It's Jason Garrett because you're the head coach. You're the CEO. So when everything go for the CEO under you, when things go bad, it's your fault. And it's the coordinator's fault. And then it's the player's fault. But it's all of the above because these are the little things that you have to be consistent on, keeping the ball in the right hand. That's simple. Like I said, that should be second nature when I'm on the left-hand side, ball in my left hand, right-hand side, ball in my right hand.
877-881-1053. Back to the phones. Robert is calling in from Mesquite. Go ahead, Robert.
Mesquite,
You're on the Dallas
Robert.
Cowboys radio network.
How you doing, guys? First-time caller. I just got a few points here. One, yes, Jason Garrett needs to take a lot of the blame for this. Back in college, Dak never was a down-the-field thrower. I mean, if you go back and look at Mississippi State, he didn't throw the ball down the field. Number two, I believe we need a qualified quarterback coach. I'll hang up.
There you go. Come on.
Appreciate
now.
the phone call. 877-881-1053. I know a lot of people have complained about Kellen Moore,
Okay.
the quarterback's coach.
So let me say this about Kellen Moore. While people may not like Kellen Moore because of his stature, because of he may not look like a guy, I can guarantee you
Because he doesn't have an
this,
NFL win under his belt.
and that's fine. I can guarantee you this. Kellen Moore is the guy that you want coaching your quarterbacks. Here's why. It's so much harder for a guy like Brett Favre, so much harder for a guy like Drew Brees, those top-tier quarterbacks to coach. It's always the guys
Great
who
point.
are it's always the Jesse Hollies of the world that becomes your better coaches. Why is that? Because we didn't have the luxury to skip steps. We didn't have the luxury to miss turns. We had to make sure at every turn all our I's were dotted, all our T's were crossed because we weren't the best. So we had to make sure we learned everything, took every note, watched every film.
Man, hush with all that stuff, man, Jesse. Let me tell you something, guys. Let me tell you. There's one thing that we can talk about with quarterback coaching, and there's another thing. Now, if you really want to say, okay, Kellen Moore can coach Dak Prescott to the this and that, yeah, he can, but not in his first year. Not in his first year. So you're going to have to go through some experience in order to be able to coach this quarterback up. There's no way in life that you're going to expect Kellen Moore to coach Dak Prescott through some series of events that he never been through before in his life. Just like somebody trying to teach you guys on how to drive a stick shift and they never drove a stick shift. You can have all type of books and saying this and that, but you will still not know how to really drive a stick shift. I'm talking about a car, and that's just what it is. Let's just call a fact a fact. Now, if this was Kellen Moore fifth or sixth year, then I can agree with Jesse Holly. But now in his first year, come on now, Jesse. Come on, you know better than that.
And it dipped into their mode a little bit more than the rest of ours.
That's Jesse Holly, former Dallas Cowboy. I'm Ari Tepke. This is the Dallas Cowboys postgame show right here on the Dallas Cowboys radio network. More of your phone calls coming up, plus the drive of the game all the way. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Yeah, guys.
The Cowboys don't take the field without a game plan, and neither should you. When it comes to energy needs, do what the Cowboys.
Come on now. That's just what I have to say with that, man. Kellen Moore, yes, he might be the best quarterback coach in life, but not his first year. There's no way on God's green earth Kellen Moore knows what he needs to do in order to get Dak Prescott ready to play. That's just still what it is. You still loving Dak Prescott? This is from Shady Back. Look, all I can say is right now I can still have high hopes for Dak Prescott. There's nothing that we can do at this point. This is going into week 4. Dak Prescott's still our quarterback, so that's just the bottom line. He's still going to have to be the guy that we're going to have to line up and just say, okay, let's see what he can do, as well as with Coach Garrett and as well as with Scott Linehan. Because we already see the writing on the wall. There's no way that Jerry Jones is going to say, I'm going to get rid of Scott Linehan and Coach Garrett. One going to have to go before the other. So from what I see and from what I know is that they're going to do this. We're going to can Scott Linehan, and he's going to fall on the sword, and Jason Garrett got at least another year, or vice versa. That's just how it goes, man. It's just what it is. So we're going to have to figure out something down the line. It's still what it is. we're going to have to really just stay put and say, okay, if you don't get, let's say, what's that coach name? If you don't go out there and get a coach that can coach Dak Prescott, I don't think that Jason Garrett is the guy that can coach Dak Prescott. That's just what it is. We see the same 2016 and 17 Dak Prescott. So that's just the bottom line. It's just one of those things. Romo for offensive coordinator, I don't think that would be a good move for Romo. Romo got a paid gig. They can sit back and chill and call Cowboys games on the opposite side. You know, he got a broadcasting job where you don't have to worry about people. You don't have to worry about win, lose, or draw. Broadcasting, the best thing about broadcasting, your record every game is 0-0. You know, you never win, you never lose. You sit there right in the middle. You can call the game. You can let people know what are your insights or what the player should have done, what the player should not have done in this thing. So you never lose when you're broadcasting. That's just what it is. We sat there and watch our offensive line, Tyron get whooped, and that makes no adjustment. This is from Jackie Smith. This is the thing what I have with Tyron Smith. I mean, he's solid. And I understand you're going to get whooped at least once a game. He's not going to just go a whole year without getting whooped. But this is the thing with La'el Collins. I'm seeing La'el Collins getting whooped, and then also he's getting called for holding. He's getting called for penalties. So La'el Collins needs to step it up. I don't care what nobody says. The right tackle, they going to need to have to figure out a way to have La'el Collins playing better. That's just the bottom line. There's no way that you can have your right tackle giving up sacks. And that's the right side of the field. That's something that Dak Prescott should be able to see on that side. But at the same time, the right tackle should be able to protect Dak Prescott. It's just one of those things, man. We're going to have to figure that out just regardless of the situation or the scenario. They're going to have to figure that out. And let me know how you guys feel about that. La'el Collins is a big guy. You may have to kick him into the inside. I hate to say this. And Dak Prescott, the best thing that we can do for Dak Prescott, yeah, we can trash him right now. He had a horrible game. He didn't threaten at all the Seattle Seahawks defense. And this is a copycat league. I think the Detroit Lions are going to try to do the same thing. But the best thing that they can do with Dak Prescott, come when they back out there on the field Tuesday, is have a stopwatch. Just have a stopwatch, and if this is what I would do. I'm not saying that the coach staff is going to do this because I know they're not. Have a stopwatch and set that timer for 2.5 seconds. And whenever that timer go off, regardless of the situation, you lose. You got to get the ball out within 2.5 seconds, regardless. Set the stopwatch to 2.5 seconds. I would say 3 seconds, but no, we want to set that thing for 2.5 seconds. Snap the ball, get the ball out, regardless. And then you chalk that up and you say, okay, you had one interception during this drive. This is during practice, of course. You had 2 interceptions, you had a touchdown, or you had a catch, or you had just set it up for 2.5 seconds. We big with clocks. We in Texas. We should have the biggest clock manufacturer out there. Just get the scoreboard or something out there and just have their stopwatch to run from 2.5 seconds. And when they had their stopwatch out, have a big horn to go, brrr, brrr. And and that's the best thing you can do for Dak Prescott to help him out, because he got to get the ball out of his hand. As much as I love Dak Prescott, as much as I want him to succeed, he going to have to figure out a way to get that ball out of his hands. That's just the bottom line, guys. That's just what it is. I do know that is this bring back Callahan, please. Hey, it is what it is. You weren't in this chat box talking about Dak last week. This is from Mike Marto. I don't know. Maybe there's someone else. Rockwell in here. Guys, don't forget to put down where you're from. And this is the thing. Just because we're hard on a player doesn't mean that we don't like the player. That's just the bottom line. Sometimes we got to be able to call a spade a spade. And if you guys don't like it, then trust me, I'm not begging for anybody to be on here. I'm just saying what it is. We're going to have to figure it out. Dak Prescott is our quarterback. But these are the truth. He got to get the ball out of his hands. If we just can't sit there and say it's everybody's problem but his. And just like I talked about Ezekiel Elliott. He got to move the ball to his left hand when he's running, and the sideline is the left side of the ball. He got to be aware, running back awareness. You got to be aware of where your feet are at and where the sideline's at. You just got to be able to do that. The main thing with Dak Prescott is that some of the plays, of course, the offensive line is porous. Of course, the offensive line is porous. But at the same token, you got to be able to get the ball out. That's just the bottom line. And that's just me talking to you guys, real deal, Holyfield. I'm not trying to pump this thing up, but it's just what it is. I'm not saying that he sucks. I'm not saying that he's horrible. I'm not saying that he can't throw the ball more than 10 yards, but he got to figure out how to get this ball out of his hands.
I appreciate you guys. I wondered if you agreed with what Tony Gonzalez said after the game. He said the Cowboys are really missing a major weapon this year. It's their future Hall of Famer receiver, not Dez, but Jason, because of that solid, reliable outlet that Dak has had for the past 2 years and just moving chains, sustaining drives. I just wonder what you guys thought. Thanks.
Appreciate the phone call.
Absolutely. And while we criticize Jason Witten for his inability to be athletic anymore, the inability to move down the field vertically, what Jason Witten was an extension of the running game. What do you mean, Jesse? I mean, on first and second downs, you could throw the ball to Jason Witten, and you were almost guaranteed 5 to 6 yards. Maybe he gets tackled at 5 or 6 yards, but now what you have is you have second and short. And now you can even go to him again sometimes on second down. If you run the ball on first down and you get 3 yards, all right, it's 2nd and 7. You go to Jason Witten, you throw him another 5-yard pass, he leans and falls forward for 2 more yards. Now you're looking at 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 1. Now you're able to have a much more open playbook. The problem is now no one's afraid of these tight ends. They are almost daring you to throw it to these guys. They don't have the reliability for Dak Prescott. That was his safety net. That was his, when all else failed, find 82. And for 15, 14 seasons, he was really good at that. And so when you don't have it, now the pressure is on, because if you can't find Cole Beasley, you're now looking around trying to find something underneath that's no longer there. So not having Jason Witten means that you miss a little bit of that short passing game, which I call, and most people call, just an extension of the running game.
And they were caught off guard by Witten's retirement. And so they not only did they lose a guy like Witten, they had nothing even close to replace him with.
No.
A former basketball player that hadn't played an NFL snap.
Hadn't played college football at all.
Jeff Swaim, who had 15 receptions in 3 years at Texas. Blake Jarwin, who had 25 receptions in 3 years at Oklahoma State.
I believe coming into this year, the tight end as a group had 4 catches total as a group in the National Football League.
No catches in the NFL. And these guys didn't even have catches in college. They weren't even wide receivers at tight end in college, neither of these guys. And the other thing, too, is, look, we heard the entire offseason, all the training camp. They don't need a number 1 receiver. They're all number 1s. Tavon Austin and we're all number 1s. We don't need a number 1.
I did not. I'm raising my hand. I never sipped that Kool-Aid. You can tell me all you want. We got a bunch of number 1s. It's like saying we got 2 quarterbacks.
Right, when you got 2,
when you got 2 quarterbacks, you don't have none. And so you can tell me that we got 6 number 1s all you want. That right there, and especially in this offense. In this offense, the way this offense is built, from the genesis of what this offense is built around, it is built around a receiver being a number 1. It's built around the X being the number 1 target in this offense. So how do you take an offense that in its genesis, in its makeup, it was designed to have a number 1 player? It was designed to function in the ability to have a number 1 dominant receiver. And now you want to tell me that we don't need one when the offense that you run was built on a number 1 receiver being the dominant player in the offense.
You know that meme of Kermit drinking tea?
Yes.
That's Des Bryant right now.
Sips tea.
That's Des Bryant right now.
You think they can't use his enthusiasm right now? His ability to make a play? And you can say whatever you want. He had 800 yards last year, and maybe he dropped some last year. Maybe there was a little bit of lack of production. You will be hard-pressed to find a receiver this year that may have 600 yards of offense.
They sold us, the Cowboys front office and offensive coaching staff, on we've got this. We don't need Dez. We're better off without him. 3 weeks into the season, they look wrong. 877-881-1053, 877-881-1053. Aaron is calling in from Buffalo. Go ahead, Aaron. You're on the Dallas Cowboys radio network.
How's it going, guys? I got a question, kind of staying away from the offense a little bit. Sean Lee, man's only played 9 seasons total. He's only played 8 seasons total, actually. He's playing on the team for 9 years. And he hasn't finished a whole season. No one's bitching about him. No one's doing anything about him.
Hey, man. Come on, bro. You can't curse on the radio? Come on. Next caller. We can't even answer that call. You cussing on the radio.
877-881-1053, 877-881-1053. Delvin in DeSoto. Go ahead, Delvin. You're on the Dallas Cowboys radio network.
How's it going, gentlemen?
What's up, man?
Jesse. Man, watched you on 4th and Long. Congratulations on making that. But look at here. Your point is dead on. My son, freshman at Bethany College in Kansas, sent me a video. Almost made a touchdown. Running down the left sideline. Ball in the right hand. First thing I asked him was, what hand should the ball have been in? You could have used that right hand as a stiff arm and scored. Talk to Daddy. And that's all I could tell him.
You need to be talking to Zeke Elliott too, Delvin. Thanks for the call.
Yeah, thanks, Delvin. We appreciate that, man. You should, next time he calls and asks for some money, you should say that your opposite hand should have been where it was, the ball should have been in the right hand. Now I can't give you any allowance to know you can't. Nah, but you're absolutely right, Delvin. Like, again, it goes back to elementary school, to Pop Warner. The ball being in the right hand. Think about that, Ari. Just take a moment and think about that. We're not talking about some little kid who's playing in Delvin's from DeSoto in the DeSoto Pop Warner League, or someone playing at DeSoto High School, or someone playing in the park. We're talking about a Pro Bowl running back. And we're talking about him having the ball in the proper hand. Listen to what we're saying. We're talking about being at the level of Zeke Elliott, and the conversation is him having the ball in the right hand. Something as simple as that eliminates a fumble, eliminates you turning the ball over. You took points off the board, potential points off the board, momentum swing. You've done all of that because you were undisciplined. You were not disciplined enough in your craft to know or to have the wherewithal to switch the ball to the proper hand so that you're not fumbling the ball and they're recovering it.
Jesse Holly, my co-host, had a premonition about what happened tonight. We'll discuss what that is coming up next. Your phone calls as well. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys radio network.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I'm as happy as a clam.
Disclaimer. Geico cannot guarantee you will be, quote, as happy as a clam, unquote. The Geico legal team cannot accurately verify clams even experience the complex human emotional state known as happiness. As an invertebrate mollusk living half submerged on the ocean floor with no arms, legs, or wireless access, what's there to be happy about? A clam's all like, oh, I'm so happy I didn't get turned into New England clam chowder today. Pronounced regionally as chowder. Chowder. Oh, that's so fun to say. What were we talking about again?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
I'm Kurt Hazelbaker. I'm the president and chief executive officer of the YMCA at Metropolitan Dallas. We are proud to partner with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Texas. The beauty of the Y is each Y meets the needs of that individual community. Having partners we know are in.
All right, let me turn Geico down. All right, so everybody bringing up the same point. I hate to say this. This is an Ezekiel Elliott boner game that he blew or what have you. He's the only guy that was productive on his team. It's just the fact that he stayed in. He got out of bounds, was the first person to touch the ball, and this sort of thing. So that counts for awareness. And then on top of that, the fumble, and of course we saw a missed opportunity with him hitting the wrong hole, and we'll point that out through the week. But it's crazy for us to just point everything on one player. And then, of course, we still have to have the threat. I think so far, right now, I can agree with them. I hate to say this because I was one of the guys that was saying, okay, maybe this team can play a little bit better without Dez Bryant, I meant to say. So maybe Bryce Butler can bring something back, but I don't feel comfortable with this saying that Bryce Butler, the guy that couldn't make the team for Arizona Cardinals, is going to just elevate this team to the next level. So we're going to have to take a real good look. And Allen Hurns, man, he just disappears out there. Deontay Thompson, he's doing something off of kick returns, but a lot of times we get those plays called back. Every time I look at kickoff returns, I'm looking at if there's a flag. Is there a flag? Let me know if you guys feel the same thing, It is what it is. We're going to have to need some help out there as it relates to those factors of the game. Dak didn't fumble the ball. This is from INW. Yeah, he didn't fumble the ball, but you got to at least attack the ball down the field. And that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that Dak Prescott can't do that. Maybe they review this film and they say, okay, what happened with the Giants game, that we at least tacked the ball down the field, threw the ball, made the defense play honest, get them out of that single high safety look, and get them out of those coverages that they was playing out there, and then that will open up this. Offense. Just think about those small little things that you can do to help this offense out. If you have everything compressed tight into the box, you got to at least show that you are able to win on the outside. And that's just the bottom line. I'm not saying that I hate Dak Prescott. I'm not saying that I'm throwing him under the bus, but those are just facts. And if anybody with four eyes, or I'm talking about eyes with glasses on, or anybody with two eyes can see that, we need to start winning big now. This is from, what's this? Dan Nasty Shooter, yeah. The Nasty Shooter, yeah. We need to do that. We need wide receiver film ASAP. I can just tell you, the best wide receiver we got out there, he wears number 10. He's number 10, and we know Michael Gallup. He's doing everything he can do out there. I mean, he's still a rookie. We still see some things that for one, the refs is not going to just give him that. You got to earn those little quick calls as far as the grabbing of the opposition. And then on top of that, Allen Hurns, we need for him to somehow find ways to get some type of separation out there outside of being playing into the inside. The same story with number 11. We see that, this team going to have to somehow find ways to win outside of the guys that they have already on this team. That's just the bottom line. I wish I could craft it up another way to tell you guys, but that's just the bottom line.
You buy AT&T.
It's still on commercial break. So shout out to everybody that's in the chat box, man. I don't know how long I'm going to do this stream, but it's just one of those things where we have to say to ourselves, what can this team do, what they need to improve on? Right now, I'm feeling that maybe, just maybe, winning our home games are the path. Maybe they're confident. This team is still young, and by us being so young, they're not ready for that playing on the road type of stuff. We see the same thing. We saw the exact same thing from the Carolina game to this game. I know it's only week 3, but moving on to week 4, what they're going to have to do is figure out how they can get the tempo going. I think that they're going to just try to jump out on the Detroit Lions. I would rather for them to defer the ball, not receive the ball. I'm talking about when the first game, first place, first set of things out there. We're going to have to figure those things out. Lee out again with hamstring. This is from Brian Bradford, longtime follower. I really appreciate you for tuning in. We're going to have to figure out that Lee situation. Real talk.
Jesse, it is how many straight games for Dak Prescott below 200 yards passing?
5, dating back to December 17th of 2017 was the last time he passed for over 200 yards against the Oakland Raiders. He passed for 212 yards. And in that time frame, if you're counting today, he only has 3, count that 3, in the last 5 games, touchdown passes.
Sean Lee did not finish this game. At first, we thought it was a concussion, but it was reported after the game that it was a hamstring injury. We recall that he had, quote-unquote, cramping in his hamstring. We laugh because you cramp in muscles.
I've never heard of a cramp in the hamstring.
Never?
No, never. Ever. Never.
Not a muscle?
I've never heard of it happen before.
Earlier this week, Jesse, when Sean Lee started to deal with these hamstring cramps or issues, you fired off a couple of tweets about Sean Lee.
Yeah, well, when you look at the player that Sean Lee is, and I've had the pleasure to play with Sean Lee, and I know the kind of man that Sean Lee is, not just football player. I know what kind of man Sean Lee is, and I respect Sean Lee as a football player. I respect him more as a man. But you look at things for what they are. Sean Lee has yet to finish an entire football season without missing a game. The time that he's been in the National Football League. So when it came out last week that he left the game and he had cramping in his hamstring, I knew better. I knew better than what they said it was. Then he missed practice and he was limited and he did some things, but he wasn't full go. And so I tweeted this out 3 days ago. One of the tweets that I had, I said, sometimes the drop-off is gradual, and sometimes it's like being pushed off a cliff. Dwyer, Romo, Dez, Dan. And I told people, you could save this tweet. Sean Lee may be the next beloved Cowboy veteran to be handed his walking papers this offseason. That was 3 days ago. And then I followed that tweet up 2 days ago with this tweet. It's happening. Sean Lee's cramp, and I put cramp in quotations, his hamstring will end in him missing some games. He will most likely try to give it a go because we all know Sean Lee plays one speed, and that's balls to the wall. But his body, like it always has, will fail him again. And it's unfortunate, but that's Sean Lee. We love Sean Lee for just being a cyborg when it comes to the mental aspect of the game. He is the knower of all. You hear the term first guy in, last guy to leave, and it becomes cliche after a while. You hear it so many times. But he exemplifies that to the umpteenth power. He is literally the first guy in and literally the last guy to leave. And he takes it home. His iPad, his TV is set up in his game room with the clicker to watch film. This is who Sean Lee is. Unfortunately, his body just won't give him enough for him to go an entire season. And we're faced with Sean Lee being sidelined again with the hamstring. Now, we don't know how many games he will miss with this, but he did not finish his game today because of aggravating the hamstring.
Leighton Vander Esch, 11 total tackles in this game, also had a tackle for loss. So that's the good news with this. Mac Engel of the Fort Worth Star-Telegram wrote a quick article on this, says Sean Lee needs to wait for the test results, but if his tone and inflection matter, his latest hamstring injury is not good. The quote is from Sean Lee after the game, we'll see where it's at, get an evaluation tomorrow from the docs. Hopefully it'll be a quick turnaround. Obviously very frustrated, just part of playing football. But again, the tone and inflection, certainly from Mac Engel as he's writing it in the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, seems to indicate does not look good for Sean Lee. 877-881-1053. That is the phone line if you want to call or text. 877-881-1053. Gio is calling in from Dallas. Go ahead, Gio. You're on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Hey, guys. How's it going, man? I just wanted to see what you guys think about the no-huddle / hurry-up offense. It seems to me that whenever they go to that, they have a lot of success. So why don't they do that more often?
Well, here's the problem with that, Gio. One, when we've seen the Cowboys run the no-huddle offense somewhat, it's been towards the end of the football game, which means they're trying to hurry up to get points on the board. And most of the time, defenses kind of back off. They play prevent defense, and they let you have everything underneath, and they rally and tackle. Now, taking that same concept and putting it to your offense early in the game, what happens now is when you begin to go that fast and move that quick, if you're not successful, it's bang, 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 3 and out to offenses off the field. Now you put the defense back on. And if they aren't successful, they are out there for long drives. And if you get the ball back and you go bang, 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 3 and out and a hurry up offense, now they're back on the field again. So what happens is it's one of those deals where if you make this a consistent part of your offense and it's not successful, you burn your offense because you're not eating up any clock. You're not giving your defense a rest, and then you put them back on the field to have to now defend a team who may go on a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 play drive. And you do that a couple times, your defense is tired, gassed, wore out, and now you're looking around saying, "How are we going to get back in this game?" Because we got ourselves back behind the points, and our defense with their strength right now is dead dog tired.
Yeah, the tempo. You hear that? That's a very modern day football description of an offense. Tempo, playing with tempo. And that, what does that mean? It means playing fast. Playing slow. You look at Sean McVay's offense with the Rams. Is it just totally creative, or does he also kind of like a pitcher mix in a fastball and a curveball, try to keep the defense off balance? I think, Jesse, you can speak to this more than I could, but when we talk about tempo, I think it's the way the modern offenses are playing, and it's a part of play calling as much as the play design or anything else.
I played for the Hall of Fame coach, Roy Williams, and he would always have a saying was, go as fast as you can under as much control as you can. Now, Raymond Felton fast in college was different than my fast, right? Because he was able to do more stuff with the basketball at a higher speed than other people. So if you try to mimic that, you end up being out of control. So for this team, and it goes all the way back to what I said before, Ari, who are they? You cannot be something you are not. You cannot go out there and try to run something that you don't practice. And so if you're going to mix in the up-tempo offense, you better have ran that in practice and have a good grasp of it, because if you don't, you got guys false starting. You got guys missing blocks. You got guys missing route assignments and running assignments and lanes and all that kind of good stuff. So if that's going to be a part of your game, the tempo, the hurry up. And I don't mean the 2-minute drill, but that's a hurry up some. You got to be able to put those things in practice. Now, what hinders this team of being able to do things like that is when you have games like this. Because now you got to go back to the drawing board, look at the film, and correct all the undisciplined things over and over and over again. And you only got so much time to practice each week. And that kills your time to go in and work on other things. Great because point. You're constantly going back, working on the fundamentals that you should already have. Like, think about this. Gary Brown is going to got to go back and work with Zeke Elliott with putting the ball in his right hand, in the proper hand. Think about that. Like, he's going to have to spend time in his period of working, of getting Zeke Elliott, a Pro Bowl runner, to put the ball in his proper hand.
And also don't go to bounds and then come back in.
Think about this too. Will be a drill they run this week. Zeke, what hand should the ball be in? All right, now we got to do it in our pregame work instead of working on something else.
877-881-1053. Christy is in Dallas. Go ahead, Christy. You're on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Hey guys. Just a couple of things. My first jab is that Mickey could he'll make an excuse for just about anything, but that's an irritation that's all over.
Don't take shots at my teammate. Don't take shots at my teamate. I can't let you do that. Can't let you take shots at my teammate. Mick's a good dude and he's doing his job.
I get it.
Just don't take shots at my teammate.
But let me do my one hitter quitter then on this guy. What this team is, and I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, but what we have is a group of guys. You sprinkle names around if you want to and start talking about this, but we're talking about everybody's successes in the past. But what we are is a group of guys. What we have is just a group of coaches. And if this were Belichick, a group of guys would be fine. But Jason is not Belichick. Dak is not Tom Brady. And what you have is a group of guys. So how creative are you supposed to get when your coaches are just a group of guys and the guys they're coaching?
Thank you, Christy. We appreciate the call. And I get what Christy's saying. I get what she's saying. She's saying that, listen, there aren't many superstars on this team. And we know this Cowboys team has been littered with superstars in the past. And this goes back to what you were saying earlier, Ari, about how all offseason long we were fed these stories about.
We don't need Dez. We don't need a number one.
We don't need a number one. And, you know, they try to make us feel like, hey, you know what? Losing Travis, we're all right. We're going to put Joe Looney in there, and he's going to be just fine. That's not going to mess up the camaraderie of this offense, the continuity of this offensive line. No, don't worry about that. The truth to the matter is, there's a reason why guys like Dez Bryant get paid what Dez Bryant gets paid. There's a reason why a guy like a Zach Martin, a Travis Frederick, a Tyron Smith get paid the way they get paid. Because in a league of the best, they are better. In the league of the creme de la creme, they are the cream of the crop. So it matters when you have guys on your team whose skill set dominates others. And I never like comparing anything to the Patriots. I think it's in a league of their own. Listen, Tom Brady's the GOAT.
Yes.
Bill Belichick will go down as the GOAT.
You play the comparison game with the Patriots, and you're going to lose every time.
Every time. Those guys are just in a league of their own. But Christie is right when you're saying you can't have a bunch of guys out there. And if you do have a bunch of guys out there, then you need to coach them up and scheme them up and call the plays to the very best of their abilities.
That's Jesse Holley. I'm Ari Temkin. This is the Dallas Cowboys postgame show on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. Coming up next, more of your phone calls. Plus, Cowboys are 1-2, 3 games in. Have we seen enough from this offense for the overwhelming pessimism? We'll discuss that next. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
All right. I think he was just more so referring to the coaches that we are a group of guys, not as far as the players. And she tried to sway away from just putting Mickey Spagnola under the bus. Of course, we can look at this game and say, okay, if Ezekiel Elliott never stepped out of bounds, if he never fumbled the ball, maybe we have a chance. So these small little things that we have to patch up and correct by to next week. But still, you got to add in the fact that the coaching and the depths. We're going to have to worry about the interior of the defensive line, defensive tackle. We saw that the Seattle Seahawks were having their way running through the middle of the field. I think our linebackers still played well. We saw Sean Lee when he was healthy out there. He had like 7 tackles already in like the first 4 or 5 minutes of the game. And what really threw the momentum off was the crazy call by the NFL when they said Tyron Smith or Tyron Crawford personal fouled the quarterback. That threw a lot of things off. But we would never know how things can pan together off of that. But this is the thing. This team is a group of guys, as far as coaching, we can look back and history will show that Scott Linehan never did anything. And Jason Garrett, as much as we love him, he never did anything in the National Football League. It's been over 10 years, and we have yet to see, oh, wow, look at that. You know, this is what Jason Garrett did. So we can have that argument. We see teams like the Rams doing their thing out there. And as worse as we can look at this, we can still look at the Raiders and say, okay, yeah, they got Gruden, but they're not doing anything. Of course, there can be the comparison there, but outside of that, you know, it's a lot of rope out there for Jason Garrett, for him to have this team and to be the leader of this team. So I don't know how we can patch this thing up down the line. Earl Thomas did kill us, and the problem was that who's that said that? Who was this? Matthew. He said Earl Thomas killed us. The thing is with that is that we said to ourselves the first round draft pick is valuable for us. And we shouldn't give a first-round draft pick to Earl Thomas. We don't need that. And during the halftime, I kind of mentioned the fact that I'm not trying to throw Xavier Woods under the bus, but he's no Earl Thomas. I hate when people say we good with we good with Xavier Woods. He can play just as good or just as as good as Earl Thomas. Earl Thomas is a first-round draft grade for a reason. And you guys, for those small percentages out there of people who watch football, now you guys can see the reason why Earl Thomas is special and how he can elevate this team. Think about this. Some of those balls that bounced around when the ball bounced off of the opposition hand, those balls could have been intercepted. It could have been intercepted. So, I mean, that's what Earl Thomas does. He's a guy that can fly around, go to the ball, and take the ball away from us. And that just is the bottom line. And that's what he would do if he so happened to be on the Cowboys. And Seattle Seahawks know that. They 1-2 right now, right? They got the same record we have. So, I mean, down the line, we're going to have to figure out these things and patch those things together. And maybe, the same factors is that I know that I touched on this earlier, that if you bring in an Eric Reed, for the life of me, if you want to win games, I can argue the fact that if we had a safety that not allow the opposition to win over the top. I'm not trying to throw Kayvon Frazier under the bus, but his scouting report shows and it reads that he's not the best range guy. He's a box safety. He can come down, cream the opposition, but he's not a guy that you can just say, okay, covering out of space, he's going to do that. And as well as Cheeto, although he lost on that route, but he played the technique that he needed to play. I mean, you can't play it no better than what he played. And, of course, you're going to get beat. That's the name of the game when you're playing defensive back. And shout out to Byron Jones. I mean, for number 31 to play the way he playing, it's just fantastic and lights out. But it's just one of those things.
Cowboys Radio Network. That is the What a Play of the Game, brought to you by Whataburger. At Whataburger, they're always cooking the burgers you're craving, like their all-time favorite, the sweet and spicy bacon burger. Cowboys, at that point, were driving, trailing just 24-13.
Right.
Beasley on the fourth down conversion. It was 4th and 3 from the Cowboys 27. They converted it, continued driving down the field all the way to the 19. 1st and 10 from the Seattle 19 before Dak Prescott's second interception essentially ended this football game. The Cowboys lose 24-13. They've now lost 3 consecutive games against the Seattle Seahawks. They did manage their first touchdown in 3 games against Seattle, but Jesse, they fall to 1-2. And look, after week 1 against Carolina, this is a similar sort of mentality in the postgame show. Not a lot of optimism. The offense certainly didn't leave you feeling inspired about them, but it's 3 games in. So are you ready to draw conclusions about this offense?
Yeah, and we could have had the same conversation last week as well against the Giants. The problem is that, when they win, you got to say, well, they won the game. And so you can't be as critical when they win the game.
Winning hides your flaws.
But look at the numbers.
Losing exposes them.
Look at the numbers. Bill Parcells was famous at saying this. He talked about you are what your record is. Look at the numbers of what Dak Prescott hit. 107 yards last week. Zeke Elliott had 58 yards rushing last week. They just played a more terrible team of the Giants. But nothing changed.
They only put up 20 points against a bad Giants defense. And remember, they got a fumble inside the Giants' red zone. So they were gifted 3 points, and that drive they only turned into 3 points.
So we could have had a lot of the same conversation a week ago. And it could have been 3 weeks of the consistency of saying the same thing over and over, at least offensively. Defensively, they played and did what they were supposed to do a week ago against the Giants. But offensively, the same woes were still there. The same things that we saw tonight was still there. It got masked in a win, but it was no different. If we could start comparing the numbers, they look the same. They look the same. And again, one time is a fluke. 2 and 3 times, that becomes a pattern. That becomes a habit. You don't just trip and fall and look like the Cowboys have looked offensively. That is becoming a habit of who they are. That is becoming their identity, is looking like an anemic offense.
And I think you can judge based on quarters. You get 4 games. That's a pretty decent sample to give you an idea of what that football team is. The offense is not good at all in any respect except for their running game. And even then, in a game like tonight, it's like, why is there more carries for a guy that has 127 yards, averaging 8 yards per carry, but only gets the ball 16 times? But the play calling, the quarterback, the receivers, the 3 games in, and there's just not much to feel good about when it comes to the offense. And, look, we can say, well, they're going to win games on defense.
Right.
I mean, look at Super Bowl champions of years past. The 9 out of 10, they're top 5 in offense. 9 out of 10 Super Bowl champs in the last decade are top 5 in offense. The one is the Broncos, who had a historically great defense. So, I mean, unless you're going to have a historically great defense, the key to winning championships is by being dominant on offense. And their defense is good. It might be great, but it's not good or great enough to overcome their inabilities on offense.
And those teams you talk about, Ari, those Broncos teams, those Raven teams, while they were historically good defenses, in that they created turnovers. They created scoring opportunities. They kept teams out the end zone. And I think this defense, I'm not going to crap on this defense. I think this defense, I don't know if they're historically good. I don't know if they're elite. I think they're good. I think they're real good. And they got a lot of nice pieces, and they'll get David Irving back and Malik Collins back in the near future, which will help bolster that rotation up front. I don't know what Sean Lee will be. He'll probably miss a couple games, but Leighton Vander Esch had 11 tackles tonight. Dalen Smith, he'll be okay. You put Joe Thomas in there. You got a little something going on here.
Right,
I don't know if it's historically good, but you got to create turnovers.
There you go.
You're getting the sacks, but get some sack strip fumbles. Get some pick sixes. Get some fumbles returned for a touchdown, because those teams that was historically good, the Broncos, the Ravens, those guys on the back end had ball hawks. Those guys up front had guys who were going after the quarterback, creating turnovers, and giving that team short fields. This team defense is really good, but now they have to put the part of turning the ball over on other teams in order to help their offense out.
877-881-1053. They also have to drive the bus, too, after the game. 877-881-1053. Ben is in Vegas. Go ahead, Ben. You're on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Ben Rogers, what's up? Not you?
Hey.
Oh, not you.
Jesse, I'm ready to jump off the Titanic, man. I am ready to jump off the Titanic.
Leave it alone, man.
I mean, look, I've been on hold. I've heard it all. I want to talk about, yes, this team is not disciplined. But I guess what I want to know is, if the fans like me and all these other people, I mean, I echo what they're saying. I have no faith in this coaching staff to get it right. I know it's still early in the season, but when do the players start, like, losing faith? Like, man, are they there or what?
Appreciate the phone call, Ben. This is something, Jesse, you talked about with last week, if you start 0-2.
Yeah. Guys start looking around and questioning everything, questioning each other, questioning the play calling, questioning the everything. Losing breeds that. And even though this is a young locker room, they know. They're grown men. They know. And the more you lose and you start watching film, they hear us. I don't care what they say. They read it. They see the tweets. They see the articles. They see the headlines. They listen to the radio. All of them know. They know what's being said. They know what's going on. And what happens is, I was a part of it. When you start losing the ears of guys in the locker room, that could be the straw that finally breaks the camel's back with this whole Jason Garrett being the head coach or not being the head coach. It's all dependent upon what happens in that locker room. If players start looking around and start saying, we don't believe the leader anymore, now you got yourself a real problem.
The Cowboys are 1-2 for the first time since 2010, a year they finished 6-10, and Wade Phillips was fired after week 9. They started 1-7. Jess, you were on that team.
Mm-hmm. It was bad. It was bad, and ultimately it cost Coach Phillips his job. Now there's some other things that happened in that season that another time, another day, but it's bad when guys begin to lose the locker room, when coaches begin to lose the locker room. That's a bad deal, and I don't know how far they are from losing the locker room, but I know you can't keep putting tally marks in that L column and continue to keep the voice in the ear of the people in this locker room.
Earl Thomas, according to the Seattle Times, was asked, did you think this might be your last game in Seattle? And then Earl Thomas said, of course. I heard chatter. People were coming up to me and saying the trade might happen. Even pregame, a couple of Cowboys coaches, I don't know if they were trying to play psychological games, but they were like, you ready for the trade tomorrow? But at the end of the day, I had a great time with the guys I've been practicing with. Well, not practicing with, but if the guys I've been around, it's just fun out there. Then he was asked later on in that same interview if he thought that they were joking. He said, quote, I don't know if they were joking or serious or not. I was minding my business and my routine, and they came up and a couple of guys said something. 877-881-1053, 877-881-1053. Mitch is calling from Mansfield. Go ahead, Mitch. You're on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Hey, all I got to say is to Jason, you better take heed. What happened to Jeff Bannister and the Texas Rangers is coming from your brother. This team is lacking discipline from the head office. Jerry Jones needs to keep his butt up in the booth, wherever he sits at, and be a owner and stop trying to be a coach. Now, these players, Zeke, like y'all said, Pop Warner, I coach football. That's the number one thing that we teach our players. When you're near the sideline, put the ball in your left hand or right hand. I mean, come on, stop trying to be a showboat. All that jumping in the kettle and all this mess. I mean, bro, we know who you are.
Thanks, Mitch.
Appreciate Mitch.
The call.
Appreciate the phone call. Dallas Cowboys Radio Network, along with Jesse Holley, former Dallas Cowboy. I am Ari Temkin. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
You're listening.
What makes Miller Lite such a great beer?
Miller Lite.
That it has more taste, or that it has only 96 calories?
Oh, buddy. Do you guys believe in Jason Garrett? Let me know. Give me a thumbs up. If not, just let me know somehow. They say no. That's the thing. That's where it goes at from here. I don't know what else to say about this. I enjoy listening to this. I guess this is my self-medication because you guys know if I get to talking, man, it's just one of those things where I just may say something that I can't take back. But right now I'm angry. I'm upset about this loss. I think that there was a win that we could have had. The season's still long, and it's one of those things where they're going to have to make something happen. We need a guy that can take the ball away. I love Byron Jones. I love Cheeto. I love all those guys out there, but they not taking the ball away. And we're going to have to figure out something for these guys to take the ball away. And then on top of that, we're going to have to see something different, whether it's be the offense. We need some explosive plays out there. So some people saying no out there in the chat box. Appreciate you guys for commenting. I'm disappointed. This is from John Donald. Yeah, I mean, we can all be disappointed. I'm really on the disappointed side of things. I'm more so upset about the way this team played and not being prepared. It just seems like the same thing over and over again as far as the away from the home game. And we will see. Right now, somebody put down that the Detroit Lions are handing it to the Patriots. That's good in a sense, but it's scary at the same time because we play the Detroit Lions next week. And one thing that I know for sure, I do not want to be 1-3. And I know you guys don't want to be 1-3 either. So we're going to have to figure out one way or another to win, put the W on the board next week. Julius Williams saying, okay, I feel you, fam. As long as Jerry is alive, we ain't going to win. Have good coaching like Jimmy Johnson. This is from Eric Sanchez. I feel what you're saying, man. It's one of those things, man. I can't really put a finger to it. Law is Earl Thomas, your cousin. He need to be, man. Got the same last name. He need to be. Same last name. We the same height and stuff like that, but he's a little bit bigger than me, so we'll see. I'm about 9 years older than Earl, so we're 7 or 8 years older than Earl. No speaking your mind, Law. We as fans want to hear it, Yeah, I try to speak my mind. I do know that somebody's going to watch this like 3 or 4 months from now and be like, hey, Law, you said this about this player, but I would rather give you guys my raw emotions, my raw thoughts on everything so that everybody can understand that we are humans. But calling a spade, you should never get, negative points on that. This team didn't play prepared, and this is the thing too. It seems like, and this is a guy that did a film breakdown, and I respect his film breakdown. His name is Brett Coleman. Let me know in the chat box if you guys ever heard of him. Just look up his Twitter, Brett Coleman, and look at his film breakdowns. He's very thorough, and I was looking for, when I was listening to his film breakdown, I was looking for the negatives. I was looking at it from an aspect of him being wrong on a lot of things. But he wasn't wrong. And, sometimes you try to say, okay, what do this person see from the outside looking in? Because I follow the team. I only do film breakdowns on the Cowboys. But I was looking at his film, and I was looking at his assessment of the Cowboys. And he was pretty much from here. Although, he does a very thorough job. I think he come out with like one film a week. And he's very, he's very thorough with his film breakdown, film sessions. And he used to work for the NFL breakdown crew, what have you. But Brett Coleman, he pointed out something that it was like, okay, I'm going to look for this. I'm really going to dive down deep into this. And the thing that he pointed out was the fact that Scott Linehan, it seems like when he called plays, it's like random. It does not fit what they need to call the play for. And even if it's creative, it's not fitting the down and out distance. It's not fitting the pace of the game, and it's not helping the team out as far as offensively. And then he also pointed out that Dak Prescott is holding the team back. And I looked at so many films. I looked at films of other quarterbacks, and I was trying to see what angle he was going at. But check out Brett Coleman. He's really good, very, very thorough, and you just don't get 140,000 subscribers just by chance. And I value his opinion. So he's somewhere along right on the money. So it's BRETT Coleman, Kolemann. I think that's how you say his name. That's how you spell his name. So check out his film session. Check out his film reviews. I'm talking about the guy got over 130,000 subscribers on YouTube, and that you just don't get that by talking out of you know what. So
yards of carry. Mm-hmm. It's not like he's at 2 yards. And the idea that they were down, they couldn't run. Like, did you watch the game? They were running down 2 touchdowns for 10 yards, 11 yards.
But that was the formula a couple years ago, where they would just run and just wear you down. Okay, kick a field goal. We're still in striking range, and run and wear you down. And now in the fourth quarter, they within 10 or 7 points, and then they just dominate you then and win the game late. Like, that was the formula during the 13-3 season. They weren't up in a lot of those football games. They weren't up 21 points, 28 points early in Dak's career. Those were times where they were just in it. They would just continue to run the football. They'd be down, 7 or 10 or 14. I remember they got down to the Niners. I think it was like 21-7. And they continued the course. They said, we're going to keep running and running and running, and we'll wear them down. And as long as the fourth quarter, we're within striking distance, we'll make our move. Kind of how like Tiger used to do back in the day, just hang around and just hang around and just hang around. Oh, and then when Sunday came and he put the red shirt on and he got the little tunnel vision thing, and he would just, walk you down. That was the formula for the Cowboys when they went 13-3. You don't have to be up points to run the football. As long as you're not getting blown out by a lot of points where you have to go to definite passing situations, and they weren't getting blown out by a lot of points, you could have still been down 7 to 10 points and still been able to establish a running game in the second and the third quarter, and then make your move in the fourth quarter where that thing is a little bit more loose for you because you've been wearing that defense down.
When you're averaging 4.9 yards through the air and 7.9 yards through the ground, I don't really care how many points you're down. It's not really a viable excuse. Well, we were down by 2 touchdowns. We got away from running the ball. They averaged 5 yards a reception and almost 8 yards a carry. That seems to indicate that you should probably run the football more, even if you're down by 2 scores.
The thing about football, while it's a complicated game in some aspects, don't overcomplicate this thing. Sometimes football in its simplest, rawest form is the best. And when you start to overcomplicate things and try to make something out of nothing, when you just should have been running the football, I'm not saying that you have to do it every time, but when you're averaging what they were averaging in the passing game compared to what you were averaging in the running game, all signs say, hey, maybe you should give it to 21 a little bit more often.
877-881-1053. If you want to text or call in, 877-881-1053. Dylan is calling in from Dallas. Go ahead, Dylan. You're on the Dallas Cowboys radio network.
Hey, guys. I appreciate you taking my call. My question is, based upon how the season's going so far, what do you think the coach's mindset and game plan is going in this week of practice to better the offense overall for this upcoming week?
It's fundamentals. It's fundamentals.
Run the ball.
It's going back to, they have to go back to now square one again and go back and clean up the mistakes again and trying to find some sort of answer for the problems that they have. And we all know what Jason Garrett was going to say in the press conference. Gotta watch the tape.
Gotta watch the film.
Gotta watch the film.
Gotta
go back and watch the film. Gotta go see where we can get better. A lot of good things out there. We'll correct it. We'll correct the wrongs and we'll build on the goods. A lot of good things out there.
Think he claps while watching film?
I'm sure he does. I'm sure he claps while he's watching film.
15 carries the first week of the season for Zeke Elliott. 17 carries last week. 16 carries this week.
He's averaging 16 carries a game.
Is that the magic number?
20 to 25.
I like the number 16. was my number. Appreciate it. But Zeke Elliott shouldn't be having or averaging 16 carries a game. This is a guy who a lot of us, and I'm raising my hand, I thought he would have over 400 carries this year. I thought that they would feed him so much he would throw up. Like literally, he would literally throw
soup, too much soup
from just pounding the ball in his gut over and over and over and over, like Marshawn Lynch. When they asked Marshawn Lynch about, what is your mentality when you run? And Marshawn said, a person just can't take me going over and over and over. And after a while, they give up. That should be the mentality with Zeke. We should bust him in the head over and over and over and over and over till they quit.
He's going to need to average 27 carries per game for the rest of the season to get to 400 carries.
Wow.
What we've seen through 3 weeks, I mean, that's the adjustment. What's the adjustment? I mean, certainly get back to the fundamentals, but how about more handoffs, more production for Zeke? I've been an advocate of I'd like to see him get more involved in the passing game, but even if they're not going to do that, which after 3 weeks it looks like he's not really going to be a part of their passing game.
He can be that.
Feed him the ball. 25, 26, 27, 20, 32 carries for Chris Carson. 32 carries, 3.2 yards per carry, and they still gave the ball to Chris Carson 32 times. 877-881-1053. Michael is in Ann Arbor. Go ahead, Michael. You're on the Dallas Cowboys radio network.
Michigan.
I'll tell you something real quick. I didn't go to church this morning, but I have heard a sermon this evening by Reverend Jesse Holly. I'm going to tell you something real quick. Everybody can talk about the general manager, the coach. Should have gave Zeke the ball more, but let's talk about the elephant in the room. Let's talk about the QB. Used to I was pretty confident if we was down by double digits in the fourth quarter, we had a chance. I don't feel that way now. And I'll ask Jesse right now because he used to be in the huddle. If you don't have confidence in the quarterback, and I'm not saying these guys don't, but what does it do to that huddle? What does it do with the game plan? What does it do with the defense even? Because I'm just not feeling it. Let's talk about it.
Appreciate it, Michael. We think the call. Also, you can send your tithes to the preacher. You can cash at me whatever tithes that you want.
The First Church of Jesse Holly.
If you want whatever tithe that you feel like the Lord has put on your heart, feel free to tithe that money over to me.
You want to give him the Venmo?
Yeah, I'm going to give you my cash app. It's Hollywood16. Send over those tithes and offerings for that word that you've been receiving tonight. The Lord loves a cheerful giver.
You've been practicing that.
No, that's a thing, man. The Lord does love a cheerful giver. That's why you should pay your tithes. So holla at your boys, Hollywood16 on that cash app. Send it over, Michael, in Ann Arbor. I forgot what Michael's question was. Sorry, Michael. I really did forgot what your question was.
It was on Dak.
Yeah, I got it. Dak. So here's what happens in the huddle. That guys begin to doubt the leader. When you're down and you're looking up and you're saying, man, I don't know if we're going to be able to come back from this, because guys can only go off what they see. And they see it every single day. They watch the film. They're around the guy. I'm not saying that they don't love Dak or want to support Dak, but when you're in these moments, you look up and you go, I don't know if we're going to be able to come back from this one. And then when you don't see the completions and when you don't see the ball matriculating down the field, doubt creeps in. And when that happens, boy, it's tough to win football games.
That's Jesse Holly on Twitter at Mr. Fourth and Long. I'm Ari Temkin on Twitter at Ari Sports. This is the Dallas Cowboys postgame show. You want to have your voice heard, 877-881-1053, 877-881-1053. You can call in or text in. More of your phone calls coming up, plus Tyrone Crawford's comments on the roughing the passer penalty, all on the way. Dallas Cowboys.
I mean, whatever it is, man, it's just a horrible call, whatever Tyrone Crawford had to say about that roughing the passer. This is the thing, man, when we're talking about the doubts, fear and doubt are related to one another. Shout out to Voch Lombardi, man. Go follow his page, man. He do film breakdown of college films as well as Cowboys players. Long-time follower, too, as well. Guys, follow Voch Lombardi. He's in the chat box. VOCH Lombardi. This is the thing, guys. We're going to have to figure out a way to reel this offense around. The magic number for Ezekiel Elliott is 20 to 25 plus carries. Somehow, even though you have Carson Warren, I think that's his man's name, that played for the Seattle Seahawks, they put the ball in his belly. Now, I do know that we started behind the chain, but we're so comfortable lining up in the shotgun. We're so comfortable lining up in spread offense, which is cool. Which is cool to a degree, but you got to figure out what your team is going to be. Are you going to compress everything and line up things in the I formation? We saw the big play from last week. That was out of I. That was out of an I formation, basically. There was a couple of quick, short passes, and then they opened this thing up. Somehow, some way, Cowboys are going to have to open this thing up. You're still going to have to attack the ball down the field. You're still going to have to put the ball in the belly of Ezekiel Elliott. Granted that I don't like the fact that he fumbled the ball, and then I don't like the fact that he stepped out of bounds when the fact that the quarterback was trying to create space, and he did, and he was able to get the ball to him, but he stepped out of bounds. And trust me, the game is on those two shoulders, regardless whether or not we win or lose. It's still in the game. Last week, the week before that, it's on Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott. Those two guys are going to have to be on the same page at all times. This team, this offensive-minded team will have to generate and formulate through those two guys. Now, the best player that I saw today was number 10. He was the guy that created the separation, did a wonderful, hell of a good job off a kickoff, punt return, and it was called back because of the bogus little call about the holding on number 31. And I'm telling you guys, I'm telling you all, when you are running off kickoff return, you can grab the guy into the inside. That's how they teach you. That's form technique. Grab the inside, push the opposition up the field, and release. And that's exactly what we saw out there. And I'm telling you, out there in Seattle land, they flag whooped the hell out of us on several plays. And I'm not saying that because we lost, but I was saying that I wish I was live somewhere so you guys can see when we was down in our distance that they were flag whooping us. And it's just one of those things where you got to play perfect football in order to win. Now, moving forward, that we know that when you 280 plus pounds, and I'm talking about Tyron Crawford, there's no way in life that he's going to be able to pull up off of Russell Wilson. There's no way. And then on top of that, we saw several times that the same thing happened to the other players out there, and they don't call that. So the NFL need to change their rule. That rule don't set well with me. And the other calls that they called with holding, that changed so much momentum out there. And they just had to figure out a way, whereas we understand that you want to have the quarterbacks, they the star of the team. You want the quarterback to stay upright and stuff like that. But damn it, they should have a new rule then. If you put two hands on the quarterback, it's automatically like two-hand touch, basically. The play is dead because now the players don't know what to do. I saw a play earlier today, the exact same play, Green Bay Packers versus the Redskins. This is not me just crying over spilled milk, but Clay Matthews, classic sack, got the quarterback down, landed his body on the opposition, and they had all type of flags going out. The NFL got to stop that. If they don't call it in college, my God, come on now. How are you going to expect somebody to hold up their weight and their inertia? Remember that? You guys remember that inertia? How you going to stop all that? Momentum, centrifugal force, all this stuff. How you going to stop all that when you're 6'3", 6'4", 250 plus pounds? How you going to stop that? Guys, let me know. Because it's just crazy. I just want to watch some good old classic football.
Just rookie season.
I'm sorry. I just saw something that I got to kind of divert from the late Vanderwish thing. And we're talking a lot about Earl Thomas, right? And people are saying, well, can Earl Thomas come in and help us offensively? Well, this season, Terrence Williams, in 3 games, has 2 receptions for 18 yards, 9 yards a catch. Earl Thomas this season has 3 interceptions, which are receptions, has 3 of those. The long being 25 yards, and he's averaging 8.3 yards a catch. So, if you want to know, Earl Thomas actually has more receptions than the Cowboys' highest paid receiver, who, by the way, where's Terrence Williams? Did he even? I don't think he got one snap. Did he get a snap today?
He did.
I don't know that I haven't seen any snap counts, but I certainly from what I watched.
So in 3 games, Earl Thomas has more receptions than Terrence Williams. So to answer your questions, it seems to be that Earl Thomas can help us offensively. He has more catches than our actual wide receivers do.
877-881-1053. 877-881-1053. Shay is calling in from Arlington. Go ahead, Shay. You're on the Dallas Cowboys radio network.
Yo, what's going on, man? Hey, I'm in tears, man. This is 4th and long, man. That statistic literally had me in tears. Like, I put together to answer this because, I mean, that's crazy, T. Will. First, I'm going to make some quick points. Back to Earl. I was one of those guys where I was like, I don't want to give up a second and pay this. Man, this dude balled out today. I'm just going to give my kudos. I'm a Dallas Cowboy diehard, but, hey, I'm giving respect. He came in balled. And you guys hit the point. No, Zeke getting less than 20 carries in the first 3 games makes no sense. But I'm going to mind my business and get to the bigger point. I'm not a Jason Garrett fan, okay? And I try to be a realistic and non-delusional Cowboy fan. And I know we all want Garrett's head right now, but let's be real. If Jerry decides to cut this guy, who are we going to bring in? Because we want a coach who's an alpha male or a guy who's going to come in like a Chris Richard, but is that something that Jerry would deal with?
Thank you, Shay. We appreciate the call. And Shay has a great point. And I think one of the reasons why Jason Garrett has lasted this long is because now Jerry is the ghost of Jimmy Johnson haunts Jerry Jones.
It does.
When Jimmy Johnson was the head coach of this football team and took this team to win 2 Super Bowls, everyone said it was Jimmy. And no one gave Jerry Jones the credit. And that was the struggle between Jimmy and Jerry the entire time, that everyone said it was Jimmy. So now that Jason Garrett has turned the Cowboys over to Jason Garrett, and they've come close. They haven't come close, but they've looked to be a good team a couple times under the headship of Jason Garrett. Now, if you fire Jason Garrett and you hire, I'm just throwing names out there, a Lincoln Riley, you hire a David Shaw, you hire a young, innovative coach, and he comes in and this team goes to an NFC championship. You know what everyone says?
It's not Jerry.
It's not Jerry. In fact, everyone goes, it was because of you, Jerry. You held on to this guy for too long. And so, again, it goes back to the thing that he feared the most in the early 90s with Jimmy Johnson. Jerry wants this team to win and win badly. I think he does. I know he does. Yeah. But he doesn't want to lose. He doesn't want this team to win and he not get the credit for it. He wants to be able to go down and say, I picked the guy, it was my guy, and it was me, instead of it being someone else like it was in the 90s.
And obviously the name that everybody's not pointing to is Chris Richard. And Jesse, you made a point before this game about that.
Yeah, you got to kind of caution yourself a little bit with that. I think Chris Richard is a very good leader of men. I like his energy. I like who he is. But responsibilities change when you go from a position coach to a head coach. You're now in charge of the whole kit and caboodle. You're now the CEO. Everything falls on you. The practice time, the roster, everything falls on you. So the freedom that you may have had with just being a position coach or a coordinator, it changed. And I'm not saying that Chris Richard cannot do it. I'm just saying that there's certain things that you can do as a coordinator and a position coach that changes when you become a head coach. The responsibilities changes. Your
emotional side changes.
Everything changes when you become the guy because you're in charge of everything. If it goes wrong, it comes back on you. Right now, Chris Richard doesn't have that responsibility because he's just a position coach / semi-coordinator.
Half coordinator?
Right.
Kind of
coordinating training. I mean, he's been a DC before, but he's not here by name, right? By title, he's not.
Right.
By title, he's a passing game coordinator, defensive back coach, whatever you want to call it. But I'm just saying, roles just change when you're the guy opposed to when you're a position coach.
877-881-1053. Doug's calling in from Jersey. Go ahead, Doug. You're on the Dallas Cowboys radio network.
Doug, what part of Jersey, though?
Monmouth County, like Jersey Shore area.
Okay, all right. I'm from Union County.
Okay, all right, a little bit farther down south. But as a fan base first, should we expect anything different from a franchise that's worth $5 billion and they haven't sniffed the NFC title game in 20-plus years? You know, that being said, looking at this defense, a young defense, if they continue to stay and keep this team in games and they lose because of the quarterback play, late in the season, shouldn't you put in Cooper Rush, Mike White, see what we have?
No.
Appreciate the phone call.
Well, if the season is over?
No, not over, but like week 9, 10, they're out. You know, they're not going to win the division, not the wild card. Shouldn't we see what we have in these kids?
Thanks for the call, man. We appreciate
yes, if
it.
the season is over.
Yeah, season is. No. If this is going to be your guy, he rides it out. Because if you go Mike White and you go Cooper Rush, then just know it's going to be tough to go back to Dak Prescott if they come in and have success. If you're saying, if you sold to us all of these years that this is going to be the guy moving forward, if now you go to Cooper Rush or Mike White and they have any bit of success, it's hard to go back to 4 now. It's hard to go back to him once you put a guy on the bench.
It's over.
And it's not due to injury, it's done. It's done.
The Cowboys gave up 24 points tonight. It's the most points they've given up a game so far through 3 games. 16, of course, week 1 of the Panthers and lost. They gave up 13 last week, now 24 this week. But, Jesse, in the National Football League, where teams are scoring 40, 50 points, I mean, there was a combined 80 points scored in the Falcons-Saints games today. Your defense gives up 24 points, gives up 16 points. You have to win those games.
Yeah.
That's how the modern NFL is.
But when you're only scoring 13, 14, it's tough. And that's the biggest issue with this team. While the defense is playing really well, they can only do so much. You got to give them something. Give them a little bit. Give them an opportunity to help you win football games. When you're as bad as this offense has been for the first 3 weeks of the season, it's going to make it extremely hard for this defense to hold up for this long. And we're watching this Lions game against the Patriots, and the Patriots are doing what they're doing on their way trying to come back to beat this Lions team. But this team is running the football. Matthew Stafford's passing the football. It ain't going to be, again, we'll be facing another probably either a 1-2 team or an 0-3 team next week who is hungry for a win. They'll be hungry for a win coming into Cowboy Stadium. Matt Stafford is from this area. They're going to come out here ready to roll, throwing the ball all over the park. So if your defense is doing what they're doing and you can't give them any type of support offensively, it's going to make for a long day each and every week.
877-881-1053. Eugene. Go ahead, Eugene. You're on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Hey, what's going on, guys? See, everybody, they thinking y'all blaming it on the line now. It's not the receivers, it's the quarterback. You know, Tony Romo had worse receivers than this and put away more numbers. This guy can't even get us 200 yards, man. This is sick. I swear, man, when I watch this game, he only read one side of the field, and if you go way back, I don't think this guy is better than Quincy Carter. We should trade for Robert Griffin or someone.
No, we don't want RG3. Thank you. Thank you, Eugene, for the call. Listen, I understand.
So far, RG3 and Johnny Football are the guys we're getting that the Cowboys need to go get.
We don't want RG3. And someone said to me, I forgot what someone said to me, another quarterback. I was like, who? What? No, I'm going to have to disagree with you on Eugene. Tony Romo didn't have worse receivers than this. Like, Tony Romo always had really good receivers. He's always had a T.O.
What's T.O. ever done? Did Des Bryant have any good seasons with Romo?
It's not like T.O. got one of those yellow jackets, right? He didn't get a yellow jacket. You know, he had Jason Witten in his prime. It's not like he's not going to get one of those yellow jackets. Des Bryant, for what it's worth, was arguably one of the best receivers in the world. Even when he had Miles Austin, it was Roy Williams who was number 2 or 3 overall pick. Romo's always had a decent receiver. Again, because why? The offense that Jason Garrett runs is predicated on having a dominant number 1 wide receiver. There's a reason why those guys were on this team. Because the offense that Jason runs, you need to have a number 1 receiver. You need to have an X who can go out there and dominate because the offense runs through the X. But he's right. Dak Prescott, he is what he is. He is what he is, and he's been that way. You can try to make him Tony Romo. It won't happen. What you have to do is now you got to put the right people around him, and you have to be able to coach him to it. You have to coach him to his strengths. Heck, if you do this. Here's what the Patriots does really well with Tom Brady and that offense. They don't run a lot of different plays. They run the same plays in 2,000 different formations. The throws are still the same. They just run them in 80,000 formations. That's all. Why? Because Tom Brady are comfortable with those throws. He just gets to the matchup where he wants it because of the formations.
True that.
That's it.
True that.
Dak Prescott, after this season, will have another year left on his rookie contract. Certainly some quarterbacks in the draft the Cowboys could look at. Drew Lock, Will Greer at West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
So Trace McSorley from Penn State. So, Jess, I know you've been saying you can't pay this guy $100 million. Well,
how?
Maybe you go and draft a quarterback in the first round, let him sit, and see what Dak Prescott has in a quote-unquote contract year next year.
And I said that these two guys were tied together. Jason Garrett and Dak Prescott was tied together. And if you fire Jason Garrett and when you bring in a new coach, he's going to have a different philosophy and a different system. And if that guy looks at Dak and goes, he's not the guy that can run my offense or to do what I need him to do via the passing game, then you got to get a new quarterback. So there's a lot of questions right now for Dak Prescott, his future as a Dallas Cowboy. Unless he turns this thing around, and I mean fast, there's no way you can give this guy $100 million. You can't even consider it. I mean, you can't. At this rate, he's averaging 170 yards passing a game. There's no way you can give this guy $100 million.
All right, there's a question coming in on the text line that I have to get your answer on. We'll do that coming up next, plus wrap it up, give you the player of the game. All on the way. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
This is the yeah. Good call by the caller. Good call by everybody that's in here. I'm going to wrap this thing up myself. You guys just can tune into 105.3 The Fan. I'm tired, but this is the thing. I'm going to give you guys my closing remarks on everything. We're going to have to win. We're going to have to beat the Detroit Lions next week regardless. You can't go out and just leave 1-3 and expecting to make it to the playoff. And then on top of that, I think that we got to beat the Houston Rockets. The Houston Texans. We're going to have to figure out a way to beat them. Those two games, we got to win those two in a row. And there's so many factors that I can go into details later on down the line. But this team here, I still have faith and confidence in Ezekiel Elliott. Believe it or not, I think that this team going to have to figure out to get the mind out of being a pass-first team and understand that you got to run the ball. You got to run the rock. I don't care what anybody say. I will challenge them as well. But you got to run the rock. You cannot just go back into these wide receiver sets of 4 wides and 3 wide outs, and you got to run the rock. Basically, you got Ezekiel Elliott. He was drafted as the 4th overall pick. Now, if you decide not to run the rock with Ezekiel Elliott, then you did a reach for Ezekiel Elliott. You do not do a 4th overall draft pick for Ezekiel Elliott to get only 15 touches, and there's no way that I can do the math to prove otherwise. So figure out a way. Come Detroit game next week to run the ball. I want Ezekiel Elliott to run. And another thing that I want Ezekiel Elliott to do is stop doing the damn feed me deal after every run. I understand after a big play you want to do that, but stop it. Just stop it. If you're down, don't do it. Just get some maturity in you and have the coaching staff to say, stop it. Save that energy. Just stop that. That would be me. I'll tell Ezekiel, stop doing that shit. Figure out a way to run your butt back into the huddle and get to the next play. That's what I like with Saquon Barkley. I'm not trying to put Saquon Barkley over Ezekiel Elliott, but you got to understand that you down, you losing. And I like the big plays. I like the temperament, but there's a time and place for everything. Run the big play, get back to the huddle, and figure out what the next play is going to be. Time out for all of the showboating. I want us to get out there and score, and we got to do that through the fact that when we run, you got to just stay focused on the run, not line up in shotgun. And that's what we're talking about, the deceptive plays. my thing is you don't go into I formation and you run out of that, and then you go into shotgun, and you pass out of those things. You got to have a way of keeping the defense honest. So if you go into those looks, run out of those looks, I can go into longer details of those things. But that's all the time I have for right now. I really thank you all for tuning in to the nation. It's always a pleasure. It's always a plus. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the page, join the notification squad so I go on live at various times throughout the day. This team gonna have to figure out a way to win, and the only thing we can do as fans is stay positive about the situation, just stay focused, and continue to support the nation, man. We're going to be live like 95 at the stadium next week, so I want you guys to be out there and just prove to everyone that we don't fold up like week 10. Let's get this thing going. Yeah. Peace.